Good morning and Jai Shri Krishna to KCBF viewers and our beloved friends since our webinar, 13th webinar upcoming today's. So I would like to welcome our admin team, Lata Ben, who have taken the time to share her words and give her input with Chetan Bhai as our today's speaker and share her few moments from her very much busy schedule in our KCBF webinar. Thank you, Lata.
Okay, thank you, Hardik.
And
Jai Shri
welcome Chetan
Krishna.
Bhai for Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome Chetan Bhai
Thank
for
you,
today's
Hardik. Thank you,
webinar.
Lata Ben.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
so much. Thank you so much.
Okay,
So
Jai
yes,
Shri Krishna to all.
yes,
Jai Shri Krishna, Lata Ben.
Being a member of KCBF is like having a whole team of sales people working for you. KCBF is a platform of for and by the Khadaikas who are spread across the globe. KCBF is a business and professional networking organization that allows only Khadaikas to join the organization. The sole purpose is to give its members more business. Its based on mission is connect, communicate, and conduct. It is to support each other to develop, initiate, provide services from our own community members. KCBF is the only legal constituted organization working for Caracas on the business front, currently having 2,000 plus members through digital platform and live members are 250 making the business of rupees 1.5 crores plus in last 3 years. Writers are joined through different WhatsApp groups such as Mumbai members 1 and 2, and life members, PS, teachers, and informative groups. We have our own portal www.kharaitabusinessnetwork.com. Yellow pages for Kharaita. Members of KCBF have entrusted the organization in such a way that it's being launched across the globe in the form of chapters generating more business amongst Kharaita. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to our KCBS channel. Further, I would like to welcome Chetan Shah for today's webinar. Before that, I would be glad to introduce our today's speaker, Chetan Shah. Chetan, the director of the ECO offers complete solutions for commercial, residential, industrial, and customized life located at Mumbai, Mazgaon since 6 years. Prior to this, he held various positions as partner, then the bedding company Mumbai exporter of Bedliner. Partners, East India Company Mumbai, exporters of home furnishings. Analog IC designer, New Life Semiconductor India Private Limited, Chennai, designers of ICS, control system engineer, Seagate Technologies USA manufacturers of hard disks. His free, his free time is inspired by reading, teaching, sports, traveling, photography, trekking, and camping. So let's welcome our live person to enlighten and our knowledge with his expert advice. Meanwhile, we would love viewers to share their queries, if any, in chat box or can WhatsApp on 8425043894 in 45 minutes. Kindly like, share and subscribe to our KCBS channel. So Chetan, screen is yours. Viewers are eagerly waiting for your expert advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lata Ben. Thank you, Hardik, for the lovely introduction and introduction about KCBF. Very proud to be, part of such a dynamic organization. So, Hardik, if I can share my screen.
yes, you will share the screen. And I would like to thank Lata for such a lovely introduction of yours. And yes, a few good words for KCBF so that everyone can be inspired to be a part of our such amazing KCBF platform. Thank you, Lata.
Thank you, Ajit,
Thank you.
for giving opportunity to speak.
Thank you. So, is my screen visible and is my audio clear to everybody?
Yeah, your screen is visible, and Chetan bhai, now screen is yours. Go ahead. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Hardik. All right, so good evening, everybody, and quite excited about this webinar. So before we begin, Lataben has already introduced me, but let me, just introduce again in brief, just for completion. I'm Chetan Shah. I've, done my master's in electrical engineering from University of Colorado Boulder. I used to work as a chip designer before I joined the family business in textiles. About 7 years ago, I decided to uh, quit the family business and jump into the lighting industry. I have a partner by the name of Suketu Shah. He's been in the security and system integration industry since last 13 years. Together, we run two companies, the Eco and S2 Security Solutions. Uh, the Eco basically specializes into lighting and automation, and S2 Security Solutions, as the name suggests, is concentrating on the security solution. Both of us are proud members of BNI, and I'm, of course, a very proud member of KCBF, and that's how I'm here. So let's jump into today's topic. Post-pandemic, how did the market for lighting and security change? So pandemic, something big, something unexpected that happened that shook the world, about 10 months ago, and we are still struggling. We are still coming out with it, uh, and that brought a lot of changes. Initially people probably thought it was probably for a week or 2 weeks. When lockdown happened, everything was shut down, something which nobody had experienced. So, a week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, but well, it's been what, 7 months now, and India at least has not probably reached its peak yet. So this brought about a lot of changes, and what we call it as new normal. So let's look at the new normals that we have now. WFH, work from home, is something that became a trend. Uh, People started looking at touch-free solutions. People became conscious of what they touch. People started becoming conscious about sterilization. What the products which are coming into their house, into their office, whatever they are buying, they want to sterilize them before they use them. They started being concerned about their security. They wanted to monitor the people whom they are meeting. They wanted to monitor the people who are coming into their premises, and they started looking at a lot of smart solutions, a lot of new solutions, IoT, which is Internet of Things, and automation becoming leading the trend. And what led to this is, that this led to a lot of changes in the lighting and security industry. Suddenly there was demand for smart solutions which already existed, but suddenly there was a surge in the demand. There was a demand for connected solutions because people wanted smart solutions, something which didn't require their intervention every time. Something that was considered luxury suddenly started becoming a necessity, and people started coming up with new and innovative solutions, and people started making solutions which were affordable because pandemic made it had a big impact on the industry. It had big impact on the businesses. It had impact on everybody's income. So everybody was concerned about where they are spending, how they are spending, and they wanted these solutions, but of course they wanted them also to be affordable. So people started coming up with new, innovative, and affordable solutions. So let's jump into one such situation, which is work from home. Now, being in Mumbai, we have space constraint. We have a lot of space constraint. People who have studio apartment, they try to convert it to a 1 bedroom. People having 1 bedroom, trying to convert them to 2 bedroom. It's always the number of bedrooms that you have because your family is growing and you want more space for yourself. You never thought about your home being your workspace. So you never designed lighting, or you never designed your space to have lighting for working, right? So suddenly, now that you created a corner, for yourself to work from home, you suddenly felt need of a light there. You didn't have a light in that corner, and what do? How do you add more lights? So we came up, there's a company called Sensinova. which came up with a solution which is a wireless switch, right? A switch which doesn't require any battery. Okay, it doesn't require any power supply. It doesn't require any connection, right? There is no charging, nothing, right? It works on kinetic energy. You'll be like, what? I mean, kinetic energy, how does it work, right? Without any power. It's simple. It's a TikTok switch, right? As you can see here, it's a switch which you just press, right? When you press the switch, it creates kinetic energy, right? That kinetic energy is converted into electricity. So your switch now suddenly becomes a transmitter, right? Like your remote control. It sends out a signal. There's a receiver which is resting near the light, which receives the signal, and that then controls your light. Simple, right? So again, no power required by the switch, no battery, nothing, right? This is how, if you had to connect your lights, this is how your traditional connection would look. This is how your traditional, wiring would look. You have a switch, you have wire going to the lights. But now with your wireless switch, with our Sensinova switch, you have no connection between your switch and your lights. Right? You have power coming directly to your receiver, and from the receiver going to the lights, and you have a switch standalone, right, which you can take anywhere, right? It's wireless, it's eco-friendly, it's maintenance free, it is water resistant, right? There are no electronic parts, there are no electrical parts, so you're not worried about water seeping in, so it's water resistant, right? It's got a long range, basically works on RF, right? It's got memory function, so it does remember, and there is flexible pairing. You can pair one switch to many lights or many switches to one light, so you can do all kinds of combinations. And of course, everybody wants to know the cost. Now, this saves you a lot on your labor cost, right? If you had to install a light, with your existing wiring, your false ceiling already, rather with your existing false ceiling, and you call it electrician will be like, sir, ये कैसे आने वाला है, right? Switch यहाँ पे है, wiring आपका हो गया है, false ceiling है, यहाँ से मैं कैसे लेके जाऊँ? It's a headache. He would be thinking, he would be worried that he will probably break the false ceiling. It will be difficult, if not impossible. It will be a difficult task. It will be expensive. But you go for this, that you save on all that cost, and as you can see, what is mentioned here, that you save on 30% compared to your traditional switches. You save 30% on your installation and construction cost, and overall you save about 60%. So you may think it is expensive, but it's actually not. Right? Amazing solution, isn't it? And what are the added advantages? It is kids friendly, right? You're not worried about kids, putting it in their mouth, kids doing anything, because there are no electronic parts. Right? It is very user-friendly for the old people because it's a simple press, TikTok switch. Even for physically challenged people, because these are portable, these are big size, you can take them wherever you want. In case even if they are on wheelchair, that you can move around with the switches in your pocket or hanging on your wheelchair, and you can operate from there. You can even put braille stickers, and blind people can use them so easily, right? So there are so many advantages. And if you have surfaces which you're worried about, where you cannot install your traditional switches, or you don't want to install because you don't want, you don't want to cut an expensive, glass or a stone or a veneer or something. Well, these are easy to install. You just have a double-sided tape, you paste them, and that's it. There's no cutting or anything needed. So brilliant solution by Sensinova, wireless switches. Let's look at another case. Okay, supposingly you already have light in those corners. But now, bedrooms are bedrooms, right? You come to bedrooms to relax, right? You don't go to bedroom to work, right? So bedrooms generally have yellow light. Interior designers will generally put yellow lights, which are more soothing, which will relax you, help you kind of wind up at the end of the day. But suddenly now you're going to start working in that same space, and that yellow light is making you dull, right? It is not bringing the energy in you, and you don't feel like working there. So what do? Right? So here comes a new company, Lightomatic. Actually not new, they've been around since 2016, 4 years. And what they have are wireless lighting solutions, right? That you just remove your existing light and install these new lights, and that's all. No changes in the wiring, no changes in any switches, nothing. You just operate them through a simple remote which they have, right? It's a multifunction remote which helps you change the color, which helps you dim the lights, which helps you even set the scenes. And believe it or not, you can actually control 99 circuits, right? Each circuit can have probably 3 lights or 4 lights. So that can be so many lights, probably 400 lights, which you can control using just one remote, right? And the heart, what is the heart of this entire system? Your CCT adjustable and dimmable driver and the LED which goes with it, right? So just having these two in your light, right, and this remote control, you can have such amazing flexibility, and you can have lights which will help you, be more efficient and get you working atmosphere in your bedroom, right? And again, as we discussed, that everybody is worried about the cost. Everybody wants to know how much does it cost. So if you look at the cost, if a single color light was costing you 600, the adjustable, the CCD tunable and dimmable light will cost you 1550. So it's about 2.5 times, right? Or if you had a spotlight and it was costing you 980, and the dimmable ones and the adjustable ones will cost you 1800. So it's nearly 2 to 2.5 times. Yes, compared to normal light, it is expensive, but look at the flexibility you're getting. You can change the color, you can dim the lights, you can set the scenes. Amazing. The benefits you get out of it is just amazing. So Lightomatic has made this very easy for you and convert your home into an office, right? Okay, let's look at one more scenario. Now, along with work from home, right, another industry which has started booming is co-working spaces. Now, you must be wondering why co-working spaces. Well, the real estate is so expensive, right? The businesses went down, offices were shut, right? So now the rentals, which people were not thinking of, suddenly started pinching. Your rentals, your electricity bills, your water bills, everything started pinching, and everybody was like, "Hey, do I need that office? Right? Do I need that space? Can I probably work from home? Can I make my staff work from home? Can I probably just book a small cabin when I want to go there, or a conference room when I want to meet somebody?" And suddenly, you started seeing demand for co-working spaces. But with co-working spaces, right, the issue of meeting more people, right, using a common area, right, and the concern about touching the areas, touching things which are in the common area, started coming up in our minds. So people were now wondering, okay, now what do we do about this, right? And people started looking at sensors, right, or the voice-based and app-based solutions, right? So as owners, we also wanted, we didn't want to switch on the light all the time, right, because it was very expensive. And as users, we also didn't want to, switch on anything or touch any switches which were touched by 1,000 people, right? So for both, sensors or app or voice controlled solutions were probably perfect, right? Now, again, let's look at the practicality. How practical is it? You already have a space, right? And you suddenly want to have sensors. Is it so easy to install? Absolutely. You get first of all, there are two technologies, right? If you have a controlled environment, right? If you have AC in your space, then you can go for these sensors, which are PIIs and PIR sensors, right? Basically, which are passive infrared sensors. They detect the heat which is dissipated by human beings. So when a human being is in that room, it will detect the heat generated by them, and it would operate the lights or your other electronic devices accordingly. And if you don't have a controlled environment, for example, a warehouse or or you know or a, or a workshop, right, where you generally don't have AC, or maybe even a parking lot where you don't have AC, then you use these kind of microwave sensors, right, which are sending out microwave signals which reflect against any surface and come back and they are detected, right? So, and these exist in in so many different types. You have a surface one, you have a flush type, you even have something for wall mount, you have something for high ceiling, the warehouse sensors. So you have all kinds of sensors available. So for all kinds of applications, so you're not worried, whether what kind of ceiling you have or where you can install. You have pretty much solution for everything, and these are compatible with all kinds of lights, right? And they are easy to install. How do you? I mean, connection is so easy. You have two wires going in, L and N, and two wires coming out, right, which go to your light. And you have these simple three controls for controlling your locks, your sensitivity, and your timing, right? So it's absolutely easy to install, absolutely easy to connect, and absolutely easy to control, right? And let's look at the cost. Well, what is the cost? Supposingly you had 300 tube lights, and now you connect one sensor to every two tube lights, then you have 150 sensors. You had 18 watts, now you have 36 watts. But those 300 tube lights were probably on for 24 hours. While if you look at the movement, right, then the movement is probably there only for 4 hours, right? So now your lights are on only for 4 hours. Effective, operation, effective hours of usage is only 4 hours. And you can see the usage has come down drastically, the amount of electricity you save, and the reduction in the bill. And what is the sensor value? Sensor value is what? Approximately 1900, right? So you have a saving of 3,94,000 in a year. So payback period is only 9 months, right? Is that like too much? Absolutely not. Less than a year, 9 months, approximately. Amazing, right? Well, supposingly you don't have, or if you're making a new place and you want to go for something which is already integrated, you want lights which already have sensors which are integrated, then even they exist. Sensinova has got lights with inbuilt sensors, and the added advantage here is that these lights actually dim to 30% of their full brightness, so that you don't have complete darkness, something that you want in certain areas, like bathrooms or like your parking lots, where you don't want complete darkness when there's nobody, right? So for these kind of spaces, you have these kind of lights which will actually dim 30% of the actual brightness, right? And it will turn on when there's a movement. And so the lights already have the sensors inbuilt. You don't have to go for a separate sensor and a separate light and connect them. The lights already have inbuilt sensors, so very easy to install. And let's look at the costing here. Again, your probably normal lights, 300 tube lights, normal tube lights, 18 watt. Here again you have 300 tube lights, 18 watt, right? But hours of usage 24, and hours of usage 4 with sensors, and the savings, is all again 3,94,000, right? What is the value of your smart light? 990. Number of lights 300. So if you calculate the payback period, right, it's again 9 months. So again, you are recovering your investment. I will not say the cost, your investment in 9 months, right? And all these solutions are green, right? You are saving, this, we are talking about only the payback period, but what about your future cost, right? You are absolutely saving so much on your electricity cost, and you're going green, which is ultimately going to help the environment, right? Ultimately going to bring down, these, carbon emissions and greenhouse gases, and it is going to make a better world for all of us, right? Okay, so far I think, are we doing good? Does anybody have any questions? Then I can take them before we move on to the next topic. Hadik, do we have any questions?
We have one query from the viewers, like in this particular
Okay.
affordable lighting.
Yeah.
In this affordable lighting, how it will help out with the co-working spaces.
Okay. So, co-working spaces, as I said, that co-working spaces have a lot of common areas, right, where the lights are always on. In fact, now the new co-working spaces have got a lot of cabins, right, because they don't want to have common areas where there are a lot of people. So they have small cabins for 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, right? Now, these cabins have lights which are always on, right? Now the owner
True.
is not going to, or the somebody who's maintaining is not going to come and turn on the light every time. It's going to be centrally monitored, so it's always going to be on. But always being on when it is unoccupied is too much of cost for the owner, right? And as a user, we don't want to go and touch, right, the lights when we go into the cabin. We want them to be on, right? So when you go for a sensor based light, right, for the owner, the light will turn on when there's nobody, so it saves them the electricity cost. And for a user, the moment I walk in, the light is there, right? So it's a win-win situation for both, right? And as I showed that these sensors help in saving the cost, right? So for user, for owner, it saves on the cost, and they are able to give some touch-free solution. So it becomes a very, very nice proposition for the users.
Correct. Very true. Perfect.
Right?
Hope
So,
you have got the answer.
so yeah, that
Yeah, you
that
can
is
take it.
something how it helps the co-working space, right? So shall I move on to the next topic?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay. So from sensors now look at little more luxury. Okay. Now again, this was something that was considered luxury, but when I will look at when I will come to the cost, you will realize that it is no longer a luxury. Let's look at some switches, the touch-free switches. So there's a company called White Lion. Okay, so today all the companies we are talking about are all made in India, right? We are here to promote all made in India companies, right? We are not here to promote any other company, and we want to promote made in India companies. We want to promote solutions which are green, so that the future is better, and things are affordable. We save not just on the current cost but also on the future. So let's look at this company called White Lion. They've got some amazing touch switches, right? And what their switches do is basically, instead of the normal TikTok modular switches which we get, the press ones, these are basically touch switches. They can be remotely operated. They can be operated through your mobile app, and they can even be operated through voice, right? And this is basically how their product range looks. But before that, again, why am I covering these? Okay, again, because these don't require any changes in your wiring, right? Again, what the solutions we are looking at is something which saves you cost, something that saves you labor, something that saves you, wiring, right? You don't want people coming into your house or coming into premises and breaking things and installing new things. You want to avoid people coming in touch with you, right? So we are looking at solutions which are easy, which are retrofit, which are easy to install and still pocket friendly. So again, these switches don't require any wiring. They don't require any changes in wiring. If you are using already, Legrand or Norris's or Schneider switches, they are actually compatible with them, right? They go in those plates. If you're not using, then of course they have their own plates. They have, these are the product ranges. This is of course just a black range, but they also have a white range. They have these kind of range of accessories. They even have a remote, right? So if a lot of people like remote operated, so they even have a remote through which you can operate. And of course they have their mobile app and voice control switches. So you have pretty much a complete package. You have a modern solution. You have touch. That is what people want now. You want touch, but now with pandemic, people are a little conscious, so they want voice or they want app based, and you have everything. And these are retro, right? So compatible with your existing switches, switch plates, and wiring and cost. Well, here it is. One bedroom costs you about 12 to 14,000. A living room would be 17 to 18,000, right? So one BHK overall is about 45 to 50,000. Two BHK is 55 to 60. Three BHK is 70 to 75, and four BHK is 80 to 85. If you talk to anybody who is into automation since many years and who has been doing wired automation, and if you ask them about this cost, they'll be like, "This is crazy." Right? A 4 BHK room automation, a 4 BHK flat automation for 80, 85,000, unheard of. right? The cost used to generally be double, triple of this. People used to pay 2-3 lakhs to get their entire house automated, and here you're doing the entire thing in less than a lakh. Right? Amazing, and you have all kinds of modern amenities, right? And you can control pretty much everything using these switches. Let's go a step further. Let's look at something which is even more luxury, right? Voice-based lighting. Philips Hue. Okay, now Philips, everybody knows it's a brand, it's a global brand. It's kind of synonymous with light. Philips and light are kind of synonymous. And Philips has come up with this product which is called Hue, which is a wireless personal lighting, is what they call it. So it's a wireless light. It works on Wi-Fi. It works on internet. No RF, and you can control them through app. You can control them through voice. Right? These are they call them their friends of you. Right? Basically, they work with Google. They work with Alexa. They work with Apple HomeKit. Right? And this is their basic product. Right? They have a bulb which can have 16 million colors. Right? Apart from, of course, your 4 shades of white, and you have all these options, right? You can pair them up. You can synchronize them with gaming. You can pair them up with your smart home. I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely into the future, right? You can set all these kind of scenes. You can have a wake up scene. You can have a reading scene, right? You can have a relaxation. You can have energize. You can have all these kind of modules. All these kind of modes set in, right? And they are easy. They are easy to operate. You can just control them through simple Google commands, right? Okay, Google, turn on or turn off the lights. Okay, Google, turn on tropical twilight in the living room, or okay, Google, turn on the desk lamp purple. Just simple commands which are recognized already by Google. There are some these commands are already pre-programmed, so they are very easy to install, very easy to program. You don't need any real expert to come and program it. Earlier it used to take people 2 or 3 days to program the entire house because they had to create so many scenes. But here everything is integrated, right? So everything is seamless. And cost, well, they have a starter kit, which the MRP of which is 20,500, which covers the hub and 3 bulbs, the 3 color changing bulbs. And then, of course, there are a lot of other lights which you can build up on. So yes, this is a little expensive, this is a little luxury, but this is the future. This is what people are looking at, going forward, synchronizing with their TV, synchronizing with everything, with their entertainment unit. You have a blue screen, and suddenly you also have a blue light in the ambience, which adds to the to the beauty, which adds to the ambience. So this is the next generation thing, that I wanted to cover just for completion. So this is Philips Hue. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which has become very important. People have become very conscious about it now, which is sterilization, and this is, of course, because of the pandemic. Now, bacteria and viruses are present everywhere. They were present earlier, they are present now, right? Yes, all of us were aware, there were a lot of illnesses, but nothing like COVID, right? Nothing like COVID, where people are now suddenly so conscious. People are conscious about for how many hours the virus is, surviving on the surface, and people are conscious about, whether they will be, whether they should touch the surface, or whether they should sterilize the surface, because the viruses are spreading in so many different ways, right? And surfaces are, there are surfaces where viruses live for 3 days or probably even more, and you don't know, who's touched it, who's been exposed to it, which surface has been exposed to whom. So suddenly, these are important concerns that everybody has, and how do you solve them, right? How do you make sure that the surface you're touching, okay, or the products which you're bringing into the house are germ free, right? How do you? I mean, yes, people of course started using soap, and people started using sanitizer, and but wiping every time, and every surface. I mean, think about vegetables. I mean, how do you treat vegetables? Right? All that started becoming a concern, and a lot of people started studying. A lot of companies started studying, and this is what people came up with: UVC light. A UVC light, something which already existed, right? But it was probably confined to the medical industry, and people realize that this is the solution, right? This can kill all kinds of viruses, including COVID, and it is very effective. And suddenly we started seeing a lot of solutions, right, for UV. So what is UV? I mean, UV is ultimately a radiation, right? Like your visible light, it is a radiation, right? But it is in the smaller nanometer range, right? So this is your visible light, and this is your UV, right? So as you can see, the wavelength is narrower, right? And it is found to be very safe, right? It is found to be very safe, not for human beings. It is harmful to human beings, but it is found to be very effective. Sorry, the correct word is effective. I should not say safe. It is food safe, right? It is chemical free, but it is very, very effective against germs. It destroys, moles, spores, and something that, a solution that everybody was looking for is what finally we got, right? And people came up with so many different solutions, right? First thing that everybody was concerned was sterilizing the room, right? Sterilizing the room, and you have different kinds of solutions. You have a lamp on the wheel, you have a portable lamp, and you have a linear light, right? Which you can the linear light can be hung or can be installed on the surface of your room. The portable lamp you can probably just carry around from room to room, and also the wheels one, which is a little heavy, right, and big, so that's why it's on the wheel. But you can still take it from one room to the other, right? And you can sterilize the room. And all these come with sensors. So it is, you are not worried that you would be exposed to it suddenly and what will happen. They all come with safety sensors. They all come with microwave sensors, so that if somebody walks in by mistake, they will turn off, right? And they will turn on only after a certain time. Next, what about the products? The products you get, right? Different kinds of products, whether it's cutlery, whether it's food items, whether it's your garments, whether it's your bag, whether it's your mobile, whether it's electronic, whatever it is, right? People came up with different kinds of cabinets, different kinds of chambers, right, to sterilize these different kinds of tunnels, right? So these are products which are again already existing in the market, right? People also came up with solutions for the surfaces which were commonly touched. Your elevator keys, your ATM keys, your escalator handrails, your card machines, or any surface which you can probably sterilize using your handle surface. So people came up with these kind of solutions. So people came up with all kinds of solutions, keeping this virus and keeping COVID in mind, because suddenly what surface you're touching became very important. So these are all the solutions which are already existing in the market, available in the market, which people have been working on. These are all made in India. Some of these are patented, right? And these, if you compare them with some of the Chinese products or European products, they are cheaper, right? They are cheaper. Yes, they are expensive. Not everything is very cheap, but compared to other products, they are cheaper. And come on, ultimately, it's your health, right? If you can spend 10,000 on a weekend for a movie and dinner outside, I'm sure you can spend 10,000 on a UV lamp, which will help protect your family and your products. Right? So that's with sterilization. Moving on to next topic, security and monitoring. Okay, now apart from sterilization, of course, people started being conscious about whom they are meeting, where they are going, right? Who's coming into their premises. They felt the need of, uh, monitoring either remotely or monitoring them, in person. CCTV became a must, but it was no longer enough. People wanted to monitor temperature. People wanted to monitor oxygen. People wanted to monitor all kind of parameters, and that became very important. Right? People wanted solutions which will recognize the face, which will recognize whether they are wearing mask, which will recognize whether they are what is the temperature, and people wanted to link them to the access control. People wanted to link them to the attendance system. So people wanted, this AR-based solution and everything integrated, and that brought, that led to new innovation, new solution, new integrated solution. So let's look at some of those solutions that people have come up with. So Cavis is a company which has come up with some of these solutions. Right, they are working in this smart security solution domain, and one of the solutions which they have is fever screening and sanitizing door. Now, if you see this, it's a doorway which you have seen probably at the airport and you have seen it at malls. But now, this is not just your metal detector. This actually can do a lot more. Right, it can detect your temperature. It can be AI integrated. Right, it can be IoT enabled. It can be footwear. It can have footwear cleaner. It can have your sanitizer spray, and of course, it can be. It will have your metal detector. Right, so it will continue to do the old work which it was doing, but you have suddenly a lot more things integrated in one, because hey, you don't have space for two machines or multiple machines. So you have space for only one such gateway, and you want everything integrated. One more solution which they came up with was a kiosk, right, for factories or for malls, where once people come in, then you can monitor the oxygen, you can monitor their their temperature. You can even have your hand-free sanitizer, right, touchless sanitizer, so that people can get sanitizer as soon as they come in. They can sanitize their hands, and you have a UV chamber where you can put your stuff in, you can put your bag, you can put your mobile, and you can sterilize them before you enter the premises, right? So that everything is taken care of. Again, one integrated solution in everything. They also came up with this temperature screening. Now, this is not just temperature screening. Earlier, what you used to get was, people used to have simple access control, but now they have an access control which is temperature based, which can even have face recognition, right? And it can have an automatic attendance system. So everything again integrated, right? And it can be integrated with your magnetic door lock. It can be integrated with your turnstile. So again, integrated solution is became the demand of the hour, and people started coming up with all these solutions, right? Another solution, smart door lock, something that Sensinova came up with, right? Now, smart door lock, of course, there are many companies, so not just Sensinova. There's Real, there's Samsung. Here we are only looking at Sensinova. But the smart door locks, look at the number of features. You can of course open them using your regular keys, but you have fingerprint. If you don't want to use fingerprint because you're worried about the surfaces you're touching, you have your Wi-Fi support, your RFID card, your password. You can, and these you have OTPs, you have app control, so you can have even timer-based passwords. So if you have somebody coming in only at like 4 p.m. and you want to give them access only from say 3:45 to 4:15, you can have a password which is valid only for that much time. So, again, a lot of these integrated solution, and that is something that became the need of the hour, right? This is what led to IoT. This is what led to automation. IoT already existed. IoT is Internet of Things already existed, but suddenly you saw that everybody wanted to integrate it. People wanted solutions which were integrated, which required least human intervention, right? And they wanted to control everything. And what does Internet of Things do? It basically helps you control and monitor anything that is electric power. All the devices can be connected with each other, right? And you can have pre-programmed functions. You can have one action leading to the another, triggering the other action without any human intervention, as we already saw in some of the solutions earlier. Let's look at some more solutions. Igloo is another company which is in this space now, which offers the wireless smart home solution. Right? They have, again, we are looking at solutions which doesn't require a lot of new wiring, or it doesn't require really trained technical people. These are simple devices. These are some of the devices which they have, which which you can install in your existing wiring. A normal electrician or a very basic wiring work is needed to install these, right? You have there are many players in this space. Igloo is one. There's Sensinova, which has got this universal remote, which they call it, which is an any remote which you have, which is an infrared remote, the traditional remotes had, which had that small LED in the front. Right? They are all infrared remote controls. So all those remote controls, you can convert them to this one remote, which is your universal remote. You can train this device to you can train this device to learn all the commands of all your various remotes. And you can put all those remotes away, and you have this one device and operate it through either voice or your app, and everything can be controlled. All your audio that operates through your remote. Even the new fans of Edinburgh, right? They are remote based, they are remote based. Even those can be operated using these universal remote. Right? And as I said, as it shows that you have multiple devices, pretty much everything that can be controlled, right? And these are also voice based and app based. One more device that you have is a smart siren. Right now, this is a siren which can be integrated with your other devices. So the way this works is that they have a door sensor or a window sensor, which can be connected to your smart sensor, to your smart siren. So when somebody forcefully opens the door, or when somebody tries to break in, the siren, the link of the smart door sensor is broken. That triggers the siren that can be connected to your smart light, that can be connected to everything, to other things, that can have your automatic dialing to your mobile phone. It can have automatic dialing to your, to the police station. So this is basically what the complete integration is. This is again, like Philips, this is again, into the future where everything is now connected. This is IoT, right? Where one thing is leading to the other, right? Where your security is connected to your alarm system, to your sensors, to your lighting. So to sum it up, and sorry, yeah, I forgot about the costing, but even here, the costing. Sorry, I don't know why the 2 BHK costing has not come, but again here, you may think that this would be expensive, everything is integrated, but even here, 4 BHK is 74,000, right? So again, we are looking at solutions which are less than 1,000, and it doesn't require new wiring, no new labor, nothing is required. Only these new solutions, and everything is integrated. So to sum it up, to conclude, basically you have solutions for every situation, whether it's home, it's co-working space, office, factory, public areas. You have smart and connected solutions. There were solutions which are existing, there are solutions which are new, which people have come up with, and the solutions are affordable. So that brings me to the closure of today's session. Thank you so much. These are my contact details. We are based in Mazgaon. We are based in Mumbai. This is our email, and this is our work number. So you can reach me anytime. And over to you, Hardik.
Yes, Chethan.
I hope I just finished in time, and
Yeah, it was really awesome.
I think there is good time to. Okay, great.
Yeah,
And I'm open to any questions that anybody may have. If you have received any questions, I know that there was a lot of information that I've shared and a lot of things that I've covered, so, and probably a lot of technical stuff too. So people may have found it a little difficult to digest. They can of course contact me on this email or phone number.
yeah, definitely. Our viewers will be in touch with you. In fact, many of viewers have asked me personally on the WhatsApp. I have shared your number, so they will definitely get connected with you.
Yes, you can. Since this is going to be live on YouTube, I didn't want to share my mobile number. That's why I've not given it, but you can share it with the people and I'll be more than happy to answer their queries later on, or meet them and advise them on whatever way I can.
We have one query which is like very much, I think you should take under this query. When we are talking about temperature monitoring, how we are going to measure oxygen level with the devices you have shared, or do we have any such device? Can you share brief information?
So there are so it is not it is not just one device doing both. Basically, if we go back to the kiosk that we had, right, then the if let me go back to the kiosk, right, then kiosk has got multiple things. Right? It is not just that. Yeah, here you go. So here, if you see, the fever, the temperature is detected by this device. But for oxygen, you have a separate monitor. Right? You have a separate device here which will monitor the oxygen, and then you have a separate cabinet for your sanitizer, and a separate cabinet for to sterilize your bag. So it is not that you have one device doing everything, but you have a system. You have a kiosk which has everything integrated, right? So we are looking at solutions which are integrated. It is not that you have to get multiple things and put them together and they are not connected, right? So here the advantage of having everything together is basically everything is connected. When everything is connected, and this one actually, something that I didn't mention is that this is voice control, right? So this here it says that there's verbal assistant. So as soon as somebody walks in, it detects the temperature. It will there's a monitor which tells you what to do, right? So the monitor will detect your temperature, then it will tell you that okay, put your finger here, monitor your exchange, put your hand here, take the sanitizer, wave your hand over this box so that the door opens, right? Put your bag inside. And once the sterilization is done, it will tell you that okay, the sterilization is done. Put the bag and you can go. So having a kiosk or having this entire integrated system helps. Helps in this way because you have everything centrally controlled, centrally monitored.
Right. This is really amazing device when we are talking about factories or managing the temperature with oxygen. This would be like a boon for to overcome this pandemic. I would share. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
Thanks,
yeah,
Chaitanya.
because correct. Like even in factories, supposedly factories earlier, you would probably not have temperature control, right? Or factories probably would not even have, they may not have access control also, right? They would be doing manual attendance, right? Suddenly you need all these things. Suddenly you want, you have a factory, you have so many workers. Suddenly you need that, you need to monitor the temperature, you need to monitor the oxygen level. You don't know where they are coming from, whether they are sick, whether they are okay, right? And you don't want to employ somebody, you don't want to have human being not measuring the temperature every time and noting it down. You want a system which is everything, integrated. So then you have something like this, right? You have a device like this which is measuring the temperature, which is recognizing the face, and which is communicating with your maybe say a cloud-based system or maybe with your central monitoring system, right? Where it is pushing the data so that everything is getting recorded, right? So
Right.
later on, if you want to go back, you want to analyze, right? You want to see who was well, not well. You want to have data for 14 days, something that nowadays people ask for. That I want to go back 14 days and see whether that person had any temperature, had any symptoms. You can always go back,
Correct.
right, with all these systems. So all that becomes very easy.
In fact, with these devices, health infrastructure will be the next booming into the offices and the factories, which is the need of the day.
Yes, yes. In fact, everywhere, as I covered, that there are different cases. Even co-working space, offices, factory, malls. Right, once the malls will start opening up, even if you
Correct.
see the cabinet for clothes, right? Imagine the malls open, the retail stores open, and you go to a retail store and you want to try out a shirt. To try out a shirt, right now you're worried, okay, who's going to be the next person who is going to try out the shirt? Whether this has been already touched, this has been tried out, this has been sanitized,
Yes, very true.
right? Now, if you see that okay, there is a cabinet, and if that store is promoting that yes, they are sterilizing every garment after it has been tried out, right? And they have a cabinet where they are putting it in, right? Then you are worry free, right? You feel like going inside, you feel like trying it out. You know that yes, they are worried about your health, they are worried about their customers. So you feel good about it, and you want to go in and yeah, you are not worried. you're happy going there shopping, and yeah. So the solution pretty much for everybody. The retail stores. The moment things will start opening up, right. Even the restaurants, right? Even the restaurants once they start,
I was coming to that
the
basically.
in-house dining has started. Correct. Now in-house dining has started. In-room dining has started. How do you sterilize those rooms? How do you sterilize the kitchens? How do you sterilize things which are coming in the kitchen? So you have solutions for all this.
So it was really
Right. So that
amazing.
is where your UV lights, your UV cabinets.
Correct. So moving
Right.
ahead to the closure, Chetan bhai, just to share
Okay.
like brief, you have shared
Okay.
information about wireless lighting solution, voice-based solutions. The security solution
Right.
to mention temperature and attendance device was really awesome. Your in-depth knowledge about different lights is awesome. With these solutions, our electric bills can drastically come down, isn't it, Chetan bhai?
Yes. Yes. With
Okay.
sensors and everything, your bills can actually come down drastically.
And last but not least, our viewers have definitely loved your session. I, on the part of KCBF and our viewers, would thanks wholeheartedly Chetan Bhai for sharing his views with us and taken time from his busy schedule. Thank you, Chetan Bhai. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Hardik. It was a pleasure, and I
Yeah,
hope I was able to add value and
definitely.
share some knowledge with everybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
we believe in providing solution. We don't represent any brands here, but these are
that,
some of the brands that we have been working with, and which have proven themselves in the market, which are
correct.
doing very well. So
Yes,
they were
yes.
some of the brands which we wanted to
And
bring it to the audience. And
right, right, very correct, Chetan Bhai.
right,
So, next week, we will be glad to have Paresh Shah to share his views on the topic on long-term investment advantages. He will be enlightening us with views on investment in share market and changing trends in the same. Till then, friends, stay tuned with KCBF channel. Friends, you can view our previous webinar on our KCBF YouTube channel. Lastly, we urge our viewers to like, share, and subscribe our KCBF channel. See you next week. Till then, stay clear, stay safe. Thank you. Thanks, Chetan bhai.
bye, bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.